Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. So, what have Mike and I been up to this morning? Well, let's see if Mike's still out here. Yeah, Mike's still. I don't know if you could see his little head. A friend of his from work stopped by in a Jeep Grand Cherokee. He just got new tires put on it up the road, so he stopped by to show Mike. I can't see Tori right now. I just see Michael's head. So they're standing outside in the freezing cold, talking, looking at tires. But Mike and I we slept in, and then we sat on the chair, and he drank his coffee. I had a vanilla chai tea, and we were reading. We each have a book that we're reading right now. I showed you mine in the last video I did, Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. He started reading this one back when we were living with my mom, but then when we moved, he just got away from it, so he actually was reading again this morning. And right now I'm drinking a protein shake and taking my pills with it. So I'm still struggling with this head cold. Ouch! Ooh, my knee. Ooh. Every once in a while it just gives out. I just did that. What was I saying? I'm taking my pills with my protein shake. I forget where I was going. Oh my God! Story of my life. Can't keep my brain straight. So anyway, no big plans for New Year's Eve. Who has big plans for New Year's Eve? I wish we did. Seriously. We've never been one to go out and do a bunch of partying on New Year's Eve. All we ever used to do is just get together with friends, one time at their house, the next time at our house. We'd alternate back and forth. I haven't even heard from them to see if they want to get together, so I'm assuming we're just not getting together this year. COVID, what else are you going to say? 2020, COVID. Hold on, my text is going off. My daughter, random. Tia, text, eggs are the best food. Just random. She's random. So anyway, Mike and I have no real plans today. He picked tonight's dinner. He wanted meatloaf and some mashed cauliflower and some green and yellow beans. So that's what we're going to be having for our New Year's Eve dinner. Much later, it's 10 o'clock and he hasn't even had any breakfast yet. I don't know how he's not hollering that he's like dying of starvation, because the man eats all the time. With me struggling. Oh, I think that's what I was talking about, this cold. So I'm still struggling a little bit with this head cold and some drainage. So I can't taste perfectly. My taster's a little off. I gotta put this down. Oh. So yeah, my taster's a little off right now. And I can't taste a whole lot. But that's okay. It means I eat less. And God knows I can afford to eat less. So, what's everybody's plans for 2021? Do you have big ones? I just want to survive. Now, Mike and I actually spent probably a good hour this morning, which is why we're running so far behind now. We probably spent an hour discussing, what we want for our future, what our goals are, what our hopes are. Is there stuff that we want to change that we're currently doing that we would like to switch up a little bit? And I'm going to do a whole separate video. I'm going to do a whole separate video on like my word for 2021. You've seen me do videos like that in the past, what my words were for different years, and I've gotten away from that for the last 2 years. But I'm gonna get back into that this year. So I do have my word for this coming year, and I'll go in more in depth as to some goals, changes, call them resolutions if you want to. I don't care what you call them. The word doesn't matter. It's, can you make these changes happen in your life and keep them in your life? So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to report at the moment. When Mike comes back in, maybe I'll get him on camera a little bit. We'll see. Are they in the basement now? I thought I heard somebody talking. I guess they're still outside freezing. No. Too cold out there for me. It's in the 30s. No. So, yeah. I'll be right back. For me. Hubby got a new shirt in the mail that he ordered from Amazon. He likes Henleys. He likes thermal Henleys. We've been having trouble finding some.
Seems like it's bigger. I think the sleeves seem longer. I guess it'll shrink.
It'll shrink up the first time I wash it, and I wash it in hot water. Come out here where it's lighter. Let me see you. Don't you make a face. Aren't you just a stud muffin?
No.
I think you are.
Old and washed up.
You are not old and washed up. So I remembered that I did a YouTube video on how I make my meatloaf. And this was like the second to the last video that I did before I moved to Florida in 2018. So this must have been done like January of 2018. So I'm going to sit here and watch this and see how I made my meatloafs from years prior. And see if Mike thought it was good. Good morning, everyone. Alright, I'm going to start making my meatloaf. So, I'm going to make more of an Italian style meatloaf tonight. I have done this on my channel before, but it has been a couple years. So I thought I would do another video. So as far as my meat goes, I do have 1.33 pounds here of a meatloaf mix, which is pork, ground beef, and ground veal. And then that's not quite enough, so I bought a separate pound of just some plain ground beef. So I'm going to mix the two of these together. I'm also going to be using some ground mustard, onion powder, forgive the microwave, some salt and pepper, some eggs, Italian seasoning, some parsley, some garlic, Parmesan cheese, milk, and some oats. And that's going to be the base of the meatloaf. And then I'm going to put some toppings on it too, and I'll go over that when we get there. Alright, so in my bowl, I do have my meat, and I put my eggs in there a while. I have my pan ready to go, lined in foil, because I've made that mistake before, not lining the pan, and because there's cheese in here, and I put brown sugar on the top, oh, that makes a mess on the pan. So, we're just going to avoid that, use some foil. Now again, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I don't measure. I'm so sorry. So I'm just going to start throwing my ingredients in here. This ground mustard just does not like to come out of these holes in this shaker. Thankfully I don't need a lot. Just enough for a little bit of a tang. My onion powder. Most people cut up onions. Again, if you've been watching me for a while, you know my abhorrence for onions. Some pepper. Salt. Did you find some, honey?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay. Italian seasoning. Parsley, garlic. This is basically almost the same as my meatball recipe too. Just going to use the rest of this Parmesan that's in this bag. There's no right or wrong way to make a meatloaf, honestly. Some milk. And some oats. And then we are going to use our best tools ever, and that is our hands. And just get right in there and mix all this yumminess together. I have to laugh. One of my favorite shows ever is The Brady Bunch. I watched it as a kid. I watch it as an adult. I own every episode plus movies. But did you ever watch Alice make a meatloaf? Oh my. like they dump pure lard in it to cook it. It's a hoot. And then, let me move the tripod here. And we're just going to lay this on our baking sheet. Now I don't use a loaf pan because I like my meatloaf a little flatter than I do higher and bread shaped, just because of everything cooking evenly. So I try to keep it as, you know, thick, the whole consistency around, the same thickness the whole way around, just for cooking evenly so the ends don't dry out. And that's it. So now let's work on our topping. Alright, so to my meatloaf, I have added 3 pieces of uncured bacon that I've just laid right across the top. Now for the topping, I have a bowl here, and I have a can of diced tomatoes. I have drained some of the juice off of them, just because I don't want a lot of juice in my pan. So there's my tomatoes. And to do that, I'm going to add, wow, watch me make a mess with this. I'm going to add some brown sugar. That's probably sufficient. It's probably more than sufficient, but who doesn't love brown sugar, right? So now I'm going to give this a mix. Dissolve all the sugar in with the tomatoes, which obviously does not take long at all. And then we are going back over here to the meatloaf. And we're going to put those tomatoes right on the top. So when this bakes in the oven, it's almost going to get like a crust on it. Now I'm going to bake this for a good hour and a half at about 350. I am going to keep foil on the top for the first hour, and then the last half hour take the foil off and brown everything up. Get these last couple tomatoes out of here, try not to get all that juice. There, that's beautiful. All right, we'll take a look at that bad boy when it's done. All right, here's my mound of meat. So I just pulled that out of the oven. I'm gonna let that rest for close to 5 minutes before we cut it. And then I have some green and yellow beans frying up in a little bit of butter. And then I just took some of this cauliflower mash out of the microwave, and it needs to sit for a minute or two. And that's gonna be dinner. Oh yeah, look at that. It's beautiful. All right, there's hubby's plate. Can you eat all that?
I doubt it.
I think you can. I know you got it in you. Happy New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve dinner. There you go.
It's good, honey.
I talk to them on the phone. Well, Karen, we mostly just text. We hardly ever talk on the phone. We just text, and we get along better that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But because I'm not going to, fight anymore. I mean, I stand up for myself, and that was hard to. I always have, for the most part.
Well, guys, it's 6:30 on New Year's Eve, so I went and got a shower, got my jammies on. Mike's just running the garbage up to the dumpster, and we still have 5.5 hours to go. Hopefully we make it. God, we're getting old. Seriously. We're just sitting around watching YouTube videos. My phone call, that was my godmother. I only talk to her maybe like once a month. And we were on the phone for 1 hour and 40 minutes. So that was nice, catching up with her. Yeah, that's kind of all we've done. Just total chill, boring New Year's Eve. like I guess everyone else in the world, unless you're lucky enough to live in a state that's open and have stuff to do. So yeah, I'll be back. Let's see what else we can get into tonight. This is our entertainment. Yep. Happy New Year's Eve. Oh my. Snack. Snack. Alright, checking back in. 9:30, we're still awake. So that thing we just watched, that you heard or seen a couple second clip from, it was The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Right? Did I say that right? On Amazon Prime. Produced by none other than Johnny Knoxville. Oh, if you have Amazon Prime, you have to watch it. It's a train wreck. Like, it was eye-opening. Obviously, you hear the stories of people from West Virginia, and a lot of them are they're pigeonholed and don't deserve to be. Not everybody from West Virginia is a loony bird. But this family's just effing crazy. Effing crazy is the word. Like, and these people are for real. This isn't a fake story. This is real. And wow. Yeah, it was a train wreck. We couldn't turn it off. We just couldn't. Did you enjoy it?
Well, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but...
Yeah, but you couldn't stop watching it either. Sometimes you just gotta watch stuff like that, because it makes us seem like pretty darn normal people, don't it? 10:30. We're still awake, watching Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. He's still awake. He better stay awake. You fall asleep before New Year's will be your last New Year's. We're getting there. 11:40. Here comes J-Lo. 20 minutes, babe. You ready?
I'm ready.
From what could be the biggest one yet. 15. And here we go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year from the Ritzes. And people outside are already doing some shooting.
That's fireworks.
Oh, is it fireworks?
Can't waste it.
Happy New Year. What are you gonna do?
I think it's dead.
Is it dead? Aw, darn. Well, that's a wrap. 2020's done. Mike and I are done. We're heading to bed. Good night, all. See you soon.
We're in New York City on New Year's Eve.